Nearly 2 months after Governor Tony Evers released his biennial budget proposal, it continues to make its way through the legislature.
And some of the highlights from the budget include more funding for K-12 education, the universities of Wisconsin, and water quality. It's expected to face fierce challenges, though, from the Republican-controlled legislature. And here to talk about all of this from now to this whole process, Brandon Schultz. Hello. You brought us some printing paper.
We're going to tell you why we have a stack of paper here, but we're going to talk about the budget because the budget.
Where do things stand?
Where the governor introduced it in February, it's now in full speed. So the legislature, the Joint Finance Committee has it. They've been talking about it. They've been holding hearings. They've had 2 public hearings around the state, one in Milwaukee, one up north. They have 2 more at the end of the month, where people can come in. They get 3 minutes. The committee's there all day, so a lot of people can come in and say what they want. But they're coming in to talk about 1 or 2 little things that are important to them, and that's good. But the budget itself is $119 billion. That's $21 billion more than the budget 2 years ago. But some fun things about this. The budget's 2,000 pages long. So if you want to read it, it's going to take a little time.
It's heavy, too.
Yeah, it's heavy. Yeah.
Get your bicep workout in.
And not many people are walking around with that. Just to kind of figure this out, if you were to take the budget and lay it from dollar bill to dollar bill to dollar bill, so we're talking roughly $120 billion, that would measure 9,600,000 miles. You could go around the world 400 times.
Wow.
That's our little budget right there. If you wanted to count the budget by dollars, 1 number per second, it would take you 4,000 years. So that's a lot to absorb, and it's a lot to have people kind of go, oh, I can get my head around this, because the legislature is trying to figure all this out. We have a list of the agencies, and just to give you an idea of how much, who participates in this budget. There are 55 agencies in Wisconsin, all of them that are in this budget, from little tiny ones like the Education Communications Board to big ones like the Department of Health Services and the DNR and Transportation. But you can look inside that budget, you can find just thousands of things that are incorporated in the budget, whether it's in health services. There's $1 billion that deals with Medicaid. Department of Natural Resources has got stewardship fund and water. A Department of the agriculture has got things for meat processing. You could go on and on and on about what's in this budget. As you look at these agencies up there, each one of those has important functions in the state. There are things in these agencies you've never ever heard of and you never will hear about in your life, but it responds to everything that goes on with what we do, whether it's our roads, whether it's our healthcare system, whether it's education, as you mentioned. But here's where this thing starts to boil down. As we get to the end of this month in Joint Finance, this is the all-powerful committee, has heard all the hearings. They will now spend the month of May having what they call agency briefings. So each one of these agencies that we saw on the screen, most of them will come in and have some sort of briefing to the Committee on Joint Finance, which is 16 members, 12 Republicans, 4 Democrats. They will listen to all this, and then towards the end of May, they will start to vote on the budget. And the vote means is that they will vote to either accept what the governor proposed, and it's not the whole budget, it's like that piece. Okay, so they will do that, and they will either take the governor's budget, or they'll take their own option, or they'll just say, it's what it is we spent last year, that's what you have going on. They'll go through the entire budget, so that close to mid to the end of June, they'll be done. It'll go to the legislature, they'll vote on it, and then they'll send it to the governor, who can sign it and be done, or likely veto big parts of it, which he can do. Then the legislature can come back and try and override this veto, say, no, we didn't like it, and do it all over again, or just take those pieces, but they don't have enough votes. They need 2/3 of the votes to do it. So that will take us through the end of June. And if that all happens, then you have a state budget, and we can put that paper back in the closet.
Yeah, I was going to say, so they whittle it down, so likely we go from this stack to, one of these?
No, it could actually get up to here. If they,
it keeps going.
They can add to it, they could take it away, or they could just, most likely they'll change numbers or zero some programs out. They might spend a little more. They might add some things to it that didn't feel that the governor put enough in, or they might have said, there's too much there, we'll take it out. But the size of the budget will pretty much remain the same. Now, if you don't want to read this thing, I can get you a 167-page executive budget that will at least take you to nap time later on.
What a breeze.
Yeah, what a breeze. So this is your budget. And the other thing I would say is, it's very complicated. People aren't going to understand it. But if there's something in the budget, they should call or write their legislator and say, I like it, I don't like it, or could you explain something to me? Because
that's a good
it's
point.
their money. This is all taxpayer money right here.
How contentious will it get? Or has it gotten?
It hasn't really got contentious. I think May is when you start to see arguments in the committee, and then you'll see arguments on the floor as both parties vote for and against the budget. And then the governor has his shot with the veto, his veto section. So you'll have the month of May and June, we'll have plenty to talk about.
And we look forward to having you on more to walk us through the process as
I
it goes.
wouldn't miss it.
Thank you very much. Good to see you.
It really puts it in perspective, doesn't it?
It does,
When you see
yes.
how big that is.
I don't envy them.
Thank you, Brandon.